Night before we get going. All right, I apologize for the late start this evening. For those of you here in the audience, the city attorney is involved in another hearing before the Board of Health. It doesn't look like that's going to be done anytime soon, so we are going to proceed forward with the regular meeting of the Common Council. I call to order this meeting of the Common Council of the City of Cudahy for Tuesday, October 18th, 2016 at 7:10 p.m. Prior to this meeting, notice is given community and posting in the appropriate places. Notice is also given in the news media requested it, mailing the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and MySouthShoreNow.com. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Alderperson Morales.
Here.
Alderperson Johnson is excused. Alderperson Hollenbeck.
Here.
Alderperson Lipwitz.
Here.
Alderperson St. Marie Belko.
Here.
Could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Please be seated.
Public hearings and presentations. Notice is given by the Common Council of the City of Cudahy for a public hearing at the Municipal Building, 5050 South Lake Drive on Tuesday, October 18th, 2016 at 7 p.m. to consider an ordinance to expunge Chapter 44, Article 2, Division 25, Sexually Orientated Businesses, Overlay District, and to amend Chapter 44, Article 2, Division 15, M1 Limited Manufacturing District, and Chapter 8, Article 5, Section 8-176, Location of Sexually Orientated Businesses. This public hearing will now be open at 7:11 p.m. How the public hearing will work is that Director of Economic Development, Zoning and Inspection, Brian Biernat, will make a presentation to the council regarding this proposed ordinance that is before the council tonight. Then after that, we will open it up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak should come forward. Please give their name and address for the record, and we will give you 3 minutes to speak to the council regarding this public hearing. Again, we ask that you give your name and address for the record. Mr. Biernat, if you can please come forward and address the council opening up this public hearing.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. The proposed ordinance before you this evening comes on the recommendation of Plan Commission and represents the efforts of staff in working with not only CDA Council but also the City Attorney's Office to not only modernize this segment of our zoning ordinance, also to allow it to accommodate the intent of our comprehensive plan and looking at the Plan Commission's mission for the orderly development within the city of Cudahy. The way that these types of business operations have been treated under the previous language essentially would allow the owner of any establishment in any of the business districts to apply for a zoning overlay. And so the result of that could over time wind up with the possibility of several of these miniature overlay districts covering just the specific subject parcel where that application originated across large numbers of the business districts that we currently have in the city. What this change does is it allows the Plan Commission to have a little bit more
The door has to stay open, please.
over the placement, and it's it reflects the intent of zoning law to begin with in terms of directing the orderly development and the placement of uses in appropriate zoning districts. This proposed ordinance eliminates the language that created the special sexually oriented business zoning overlay and directs these types of businesses to zoning district within the city that is more appropriate for this type of business in terms of its relationship to other uses that are sensitive to the characteristics of this type of business operation. So in preparing this language, we worked with council, we reviewed a number of other municipalities in terms of the language that they've employed in recently updating their ordinances in dealing with these types of business operations, including Pleasant Prairie in south of here along the I-94 corridor. And the new language directs these types of uses to be located within the M1 zoning district, which is a limited manufacturing district, with certain constraints regarding placement within those districts, because there's a number of M1 districts within the city, in terms of their relationship to other uses like schools, establishments where alcohol is served, businesses of that nature. So it's an update to the ordinance, it's a modernization, and it is, we feel strongly, staff feels strongly that it is a much better accommodation in dealing with this type of business operation vis-a-vis our ongoing implementation of the comprehensive plan.
Are there any questions from the members of the council? Okay. Thank you, Director Bierenot. I'd ask that you stick around if there's any other questions from members of the audience.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'm going to open up for public comment. Is there anybody who would wish to like to speak at this public hearing? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Second call. Is there anybody who wishes to speak at this public hearing? Third and final call. Is there anybody who would wish to speak at this public hearing? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Clerk, let the record show that the public hearing is closed at 7:16 p.m. No action will be taken on this item until later consideration of an ordinance on the council agenda tonight. The public hearing is now closed. Public comment, is there anybody who wishes to speak to the common council on any items listed on the agenda? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Second call. Third and final call. Seeing and hearing none, consent agenda items. Mr. Clerk?
Number 1, minutes of the regular common council meeting held October 4th, 2016. Minutes of the special meeting of the common council held October 4th, 2016. Third, minutes of the personnel meeting held October 11th, 2016. Fourth, minutes of the finance meeting held October 4th, 2016. Fifth, minutes of the Board of Review held October 4th, 2016. Sixth, minutes of the Claims Committee held October 10th, 2016. Seventh, minutes of the Board of Public Works held July 11th, 2016. Eighth, minutes of the Planning Commission held September 13th, 2016. Ninth, minutes of the Design Review Board held September 13th, 2016. And 10th, claims report ending September 30th, 2016, in the amount of $381,600.
Are there any items that need to be removed from consent agenda? Seeing and hearing none, a motion to approve would be in order.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lickerick, second by Alderman Hollenbeck. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
New business. Ready?
Yep.
Discussion, necessary action regarding the minutes of Cudahy Rules, Laws, and Licensing Committee held October 5th, 2016, and Randy left the meeting at 7:20.
A motion to approve the minutes would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman St. Marie Belko, second by Alderman Lickerick. Any discussion? Alderman Morales, excuse me. On a roll call. Lock in your votes. 1, 4, 5 voting yes, 3 abstain.
Okay. Randy is returning to the Common Council at 7:21. Okay. Number 2, discussion necessary action regarding recommendation from the Planning Commission to set a public hearing on December 6, 2016 regarding LE Vacation, ATI Laddish LLC, Cudahy Parking Lot Expansion.
Members of the council, at the most recent Plan Commission, ATI Laddish LLC has acquired a piece of property that used to be owned by Milwaukee County. Through that exploration process is that we have found that there is an alley, a short section of alley, 14 by 56, that needs to be vacated through this process. In order to be able to do that, and for Laddish to acquire this property, combine it with some other existing property they already own, we would need to hold a public hearing for the alley vacation, as well as a required rezoning change that would be required when these properties are all assembled together. It's simply going to be used for a parking lot, but again, in order to do that, we would have to set the date of a public hearing, which my recommendation would be a public hearing before the Common Council on December 6, 2016 regarding the alley vacation, and a public hearing before the Common Council also on December 6, 2016 regarding the rezoning of the property. So I would request a motion to set those dates for the public hearing would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Licklick. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Locking your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 3, discussion and necessary action on potential and impact of the wheel tax implemented by Milwaukee County on the city of Cudahy and residents.
Members of the council, before I left for vacation, this item came to my attention in the fact that the council and the finance committee worked very hard in adopting our municipal budget, sending it off to publication for our community, and then I started thinking, what if we were affected by a wheel tax? And how much would that cost our taxpayers? So I did some research on the 80 vehicles that we have in our fleet that offer police, fire, public works, inspection services, and came up to the tune of around $4,000 that would be borne on us as a governing body for a $60 wheel tax before Milwaukee County. With that, I sent a request for additional information to the county executive's office because something was piquing my curiosity. That one, we go to budget and we'd have to come up with about $5,000 to pay a Milwaukee County wheel tax when our taxpayers are already paying 20 cents on the dollar. That kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. But I did come back to find out is that municipalities are exempt from the Milwaukee County wheel tax if the county board goes through with the wheel tax. So, I mean, obviously, we utilize the taxpayers' money, and again, my concern is that the taxpayers give us the money to use to provide services, not to have wheels taxed. But since we don't have that, you know, we won't have to pay that wheels tax. I don't know if the council wants to take any stand on the county's wheel tax in their proposal. I would leave that open for discussion here. But my concern bringing this forward was the impact on our budget and what it could potentially cost our citizens, i.e. $5,000 in less services because we were paying for wheels. So I throw it out for discussion. If the council wants to take any action or send any recommendation to the county board, I'd be fine with that. I'll open it up for discussion. Alderman Morales, you look like you're thinking.
I'm just thinking that, I'm trying to remember when they actually vote on their budget.
Theirs is November, sir.
November?
Yeah.
If we had another council meeting between now and then, it might not be a bad idea to invite our representative who, you know, Supervisor Satori, to come in and actually have a discussion on this topic, so.
If there's no objection to that, I'll hold this item over and I will extend the invitation. Is that fair enough?
I think that's fair.
Okay, is that fair with the rest of the council?
Yes.
Okay. I will get in touch with Supervisor Sartori and provide the invitation, and we'll see if we can get him in here. All right, thank you. Mr. Clerk, item number 4.
Hold until next session, right?
Yep.
Number 4, discussion and necessary action regarding discontinuance of curbside spring rubbish pickup and implementation of ticket program for rubbish and yard waste.
Members of the council, I had put a memo in your packet regarding this item, that again, if the council remembers, when we looked at the discontinuance last year, the council had discontinued the curbside pickup for 1 year, and it did the implementation of the ticket program for your rubbish and later yard waste. The Director of Public Works and the Department of Public Works did a very good job in getting additional free yard waste tickets for our citizens as we explored how it would run in 2016. The item was discussed recently at the Board of Public Works meeting last month, and I'd asked Director Lang to come up and talk to the council about it, and then have the council look at any potential action for the yard waste program for 2017 for yard waste and rubbish. Director Lang?
Well, if you remember why spring cleanup was discontinued, it essentially, the largest part of it was because the city looked like a mess. I mean, people for a month to 6 weeks, during a period when people had weddings, proms, you name it. We also generated, many of our surrounding communities do no longer have spring cleanup, and so we generated garbage from outside our area. People would find things, especially like hazardous or waste that we didn't take as part of spring cleanup, on their front lawns, which got to be quite a issue for the Board of Public Works because these people had to continually appeal. So the recommendation was that we would discontinue spring cleanup, see how it would go a year. We implemented where we had the golden tickets where people could take their stuff down at any time during 2016. They would have to pick them up. About half the people have taken advantage of that to date, but so far we are not finding any more things than we've already had in the past in the ditch, in laying down the hill at the park or anything like that. So it was discussed at Board of Public Works, and it was agreed that we would bring it to the council with the recommendation that we discontinue it permanently. So, any questions on that?
Well, I guess we're talking about spring pickup and the golden tickets, and then within our information, it talks also about just the generality of the green tickets that are also given to the citizens. There's just some confusing information about it that the residential properties get tickets based on if they pay recycling fees, and then it mentions recycling fees and garbage fees. So, and I know when I asked about it, and I had citizens wonder, especially the condos, of why they weren't getting tickets or a certain amount of tickets. I was told it was based on recycling. Now I'm reading information that says it's based on garbage fees. So it's just very unclear. I guess I'd like this cleaned up so we know what we're deciding upon on this information that's shared with us in this memo.
Okay.
Plus, I don't
Okay.
have the minutes from your meeting from October 3rd that this was discussed at. So I have your last minutes that were in the consent agenda were from July 11th, not
Right.
from the October 3rd meeting.
Right, because the Board of Public Works hasn't had another meeting yet, so they...
Approve them.
No.
They haven't
No.
approved
Right.
My minutes were in here from October 5th from Rules, Laws, and Ordinances, so I'm just
Okay.
making the point that they reference them, but they're not in here, so I don't know what they say.
Okay.
Well, as far as the spring cleanup, that's kind of it's kind of a separate thing for what we have with the condos and the amount of tickets they get, and even the fact that they get recycling garbage pickup. That's something that's going to be going to rules, laws, and licenses, because we have a real difficult situation where, and I wish our attorney was here, we have to treat the entities the same. And condos are PUDs, and we don't allow other PUDs to take advantage of our garbage and recycling. And with that, they don't need all of the green tickets because they have a service doing their lawn. So they get half of that amount. And all of those things, the Board of Public Works has documented, and some of that will go to rules, laws, and licenses as an ordinance and clean up the whole situation of what we pick up, who gets garbage and recycling service and who doesn't. And the people that pay recycling and garbage fees, i.e. the majority of single-family and duplex lots, they have been subsidizing very large complexes, churches, people who have never paid recycling fees. So, and they also have been subsidizing a lot of people down near the drop-off. So spring cleanup, everybody took advantage of spring cleanup, and yet only a small amount of people were actually paying for it. So this kind of cleans it up, and so with spring cleanup out of the way, then we can deal with the recycling fees, the garbage fees, which some of that has to be an ordinance, and then who gets how many tickets and why. That'll be actually, that goes back to the Board of Public Works, but that's actually a procedural change. Because people in condos have a service, and our ordinance says, no, we don't take contractor waste. So the service can't bring down the material down to the drop-off site. A single-family resident could, or a person that has a duplex could, because they have to show their license and they have to, so from that standpoint, we're giving a service to them that violates the ordinance. So those things all have to be cleared
I agree,
up.
it has to be much clearer, because as far as the usage of what, the green tickets are for then, or even the yellow, if they're not going to get comparable, even the spring cleanup tickets.
Yeah, see, I think this goes back to a lot of times when you have in your district a bunch of condos and you push to have the city pick up trash, city pick up.
I don't push for anything.
No,
But they do get
no
it.
one in specific, I'm talking in generality.
Yeah.
Over time. So, it may not be that way in District B, but District C it is, and District E is different.
But they are condos, condos are different than a rental property or a four-family. They actually are individuals that pay taxes. They happen to live in a different kind of structure, and in the sense of if the clarity of the green ticket is only for lawn care, I get that. They don't take care of their lawns. They have a service. But in turn, if that spring cleanup, and they're a residential property that pays taxes, and it could be a garbage fee. Now, if it's a garbage fee versus the recycle fee, they do have the garbage canisters currently. Then in turn, they deserve a comparable number of yellow tickets. So again,
They do get the yellow tickets, and they get 6 green tickets. They don't
they
get
get a different number of green tickets because
because
they don't have lawn care.
They
They don't have lawn care service. But
But-
we're going to clarify that. You're saying all in rules, laws, and
Right, because there's a fine line, and I have to work with our city attorney on this, and this is exactly the case, that if in certain other districts, aldermanic districts, because one district alderman pushed for condos to get it, a condo is a PUD, it's a planned unit development, and it's a multi-family complex. Even though they're paying taxes separately, the ordinance doesn't allow for that. The ordinance says single-family to four-family, and then they made an amendment to it for condos, but they didn't include all the condos. And realistically, the reason why they didn't is because it's very, very difficult to pick up trash in these condo developments. They're not designed with the city streets, and we have a lot of problems. And the people in those condo developments continually complain, to the point that our contracted services will probably, in the next contract, not pick up. We will have to do something different. So we have to get this all straightened out. And that that has nothing to do with spring cleanup. Many people in the condos never got spring cleanup because we physically couldn't get back into the condos to pick up. They had to get it to curbside. So they do have the yellow tickets. They don't get as many recycling tickets. So, but that will be a kind of a policy decision when we can clear up the whole ordinance language of what they get and what they don't get.
And the yellow tickets and the green tickets come out of different funds.
Right.
Right, I get that.
Okay,
Recycling it.
because, one's for trash and one's for recycling.
Yep.
Okay.
But the way the sentences are descriptive in the memo is just still, it's just a little unclear. So that's why I have my questions. And so,
Okay. Any additional questions?
Sorry.
Members of the council, what's your pleasure?
Can I just say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Alderman Ryan.
I
Sorry.
just want to say that this continues to be a subject that is brought up to me regularly and something that my constituents vehemently oppose. Now, we may have our personal thoughts on this and the way the city looked, but I have to say that a vast majority of the people in the first district want this program back. They liked it. They had no problems with the way that their district looked, and I can certainly not in good confidence vote for permanently removing this when the majority of my district certainly opposes that.
Okay, your alternative would be?
I say that we bring it back. I say that we bring it back.
How do we pay for it?
Well, that would have to be determined depending on what we shifted with the money, what the state money is. But I think that this is a service that
The state cut recycling grants, so that's the problem,
Sure,
Alderman.
but then I believe they also restored those, didn't they?
No, a portion of it, but we haven't seen the actual amount.
Okay, but last year, they restored another portion of the grants last year as well, too.
Right, but the overall cut, Director Lang, correct me if I'm wrong, the overall cut was about $67,000, and they brought back about 16?
Right, and it can bring up the whole budget situation. I mean, we did it for budget reasons. The recycling grant was $120,000, we got $60,000 back. So we've been losing $60,000. I just did my recycling, and just finished my recycling budget, and right now, currently, we are operating in a deficit, because recycling doesn't only pick up recycling material. We do a portion of our leaves through stormwater, leaf collection through stormwater, and recycling. So, and there's a significant cost in collecting leaves curbside, and yard waste, the trash, and hauling it out, and things like that. But right now, we're operating in a $12 per cart deficit. Now, we have some surplus, and we'll be operating on that surplus. In 2015, we had a $28,000 deficit. In 2016, even without spring cleanup, we will be operating in about a $50,000 to $60,000. In 2017, we will be operating in an $82,000 deficit without spring cleanup. Spring cleanup takes a huge amount of my staff for a period of 3 to 4 weeks. So, and it costs around $180,000 to $200,000 a year. We do not have that in our 101, our garbage account, our garbage, our tax account, and we don't have it in the recycling. And the budget that was presented to you did not include spring cleanup in that.
Not even to mention, you have to budget like $10,000 to $20,000 for all the TVs that just show up that we have to pay to
Exactly.
get rid of. And then they
Right.
come, technically, we charge them for the abatement, but then all they do is come in front of us at the Board of Public Works and say, wasn't my TV. What are you gonna do?
When do we get the numbers back from the state of what's being returned as far as the recycling grant?
We typically don't get that in January, but from what I heard on the state level, we're not going to get any more. So we're still looking at a $60,000 grant.
Director Lang, when was the last time the city's recycling fee was raised? You even remember?
It wasn't since I've been here. I've been here 8 years. I believe it was 2000 and maybe 6 or 5.
Sounds like a pretty good
10
guess
years
to
ago.
me. Sounds about right. There's about 6,500 households on the recycling, is that correct?
We collect, or we have 6,400 carts.
Okay. Just doing some quick math, if the council wanted to do it that way, you'd have to raise the recycling fee, the annual recycling fee, just to cover 100,000 divided by 6,400 carts by $15.63 a year for every household, just to pay for the spring cleanup if you were going to do it that way.
That is correct.
Okay. Just so everybody's aware. Any other questions or discussion?
I think before we eliminate that permanently, then I think that we should at least give citizens an opportunity to weigh in on that potential. And I would recommend holding this over to the next meeting so that we can at least have that discussion.
I agree.
Okay. So then, the alternative would be is to get the word out that says if we're going to discontinue it, or if we're going to bring it back under that way, that the recycling charge would be raised by $15.63 per household.
Yes.
Okay, just so that information is clearly conveyed, that the public just doesn't think that this is a free service that's going to be offered to them.
I agree to give them all the information that we have available.
So how many people would have to come to this meeting to give you a fair assessment of the opinion of the city?
I think that it's more than just what comes up. I think it's the calls, I think it's just the overall reaction that we receive, and I'll be able to make my own judgment based on how I feel is best for it.
Just providing an opportunity for awareness. Again, we can have discussions, but all of a sudden now we're discussing and we're talking about numbers, and yes, there's a handful of citizens here, but we haven't been able to share the information that this is, that this other number is now brought forward. Here's your option, if you want this service, do you want to pay extra for it? They're not aware of that. They're not aware. So again, I agree with Alderman Morales to give citizens an opportunity to come and weigh in. I don't care how many come or how few, it's just the opportunity, and we'll move forward from there.
Okay.
As far as, I see the dump spring cleanup as a wound that the Band-Aid and stitches keep coming out. And I don't honestly ever see us getting over that. It's always going to be a scar that's going to be itchy and, kind of gets ripped open a little bit. And part of that is because everyone, and this came up at another meeting I was just at, wants to do comparables and wants to say, well, St. Francis has this, and South Milwaukee has this, and Oak Creek has this, and this, and this, and this. And that's kind of unfair because they in themselves have different plans, different problems, and only besides us, the city of Milwaukee, and West Allis, who I believe has now discontinued this type of program. While I can be honest, this spring I got 2 calls on it in my district, and basically they were elderly people just saying, even if we had this service, they didn't know how they were going to get the items out of there. I have no problem, pushing it off another meeting so that, we can have people come up here and, talk about it if, that's what the rest of the council wants to do. I have no issue with that. The biggest thing that we're going to always be looking at is where we're going to come up with the additional money.
And I know, and that's why I think giving them the opportunity to decide if they want to pay for it, that is what's going to, a majority of my district is single-home families, and I'm sure a majority of them pay the recycling fee for this, so they wouldn't even be impacted by the raise for that. So I think having them, or affording them the opportunity to be able to weigh on that is certainly appropriate.
So does that mean, if we're going back to that, we're gonna go back to then charging for the additional stuff like we were the previous year down at the dump?
What do you mean? I don't know. We're gonna, I still.
Well, you'd eliminate the yard waste tickets, you'd have to.
Okay, so.
You'd go back to a once
So, yeah,
a
and
year.
I think that, you know, the thing with the tickets and the constant changing, and you can't buy it downtown, I think it's frustrating to me because it seems like such a simple process. I get it, I get what the Board of Public Works is trying to do. We still have a lot of people who want and assert what they feel is what is best for the city, and including the spring cleanup. So,
But what I'm saying though is it doesn't, this has a ripple wave effect on the whole dump itself.
I say
So
charge, I
it-
say
it's
charge
not-
it up. You use
so
the
we
dump, I
would-
say
we
charge
would-
it.
I understand, I was the one that brokered this deal, remember, last year. So, but what I'm saying though is,
That's right.
so that we're all on page, this also reverts us back to where we're actually charging the money for the tickets.
No yellow tickets, no green tickets,
No green tickets, no yellow
nothing.
tickets. We go back to charging for the use of the dump.
So
That would
here
be
we're talking about
absolutely-
raising the fee. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Alderman
That's okay.
Ellis. First, I hear that this is separate, the yellow and the green, and now we're like saying that one hinges on the other. So if we do spring cleanup, we have to start charging for people dumping things at the dump again. I'm a little confused, whereas I just heard
Because of
from
the cost,
director-
because of the cost of operating it. The dump fee was put in prior to most of us, other than Alderman Litkowitz was here at the time, lucky you. And that was quite a contentious thing back in 2012, and the reason that dump fee was instituted in this community was because the state cut over $67,000 in the recycling grant, which had been going to pay for the dump. The alternative was, in the first year, they put in a revenue projection of $60,000 that the citizens would have to pay by bringing in their 32-gallon drum, their truck, their $5, $10, $20 load, et cetera, as the Department of Public Works tried to put some rules, if you will, on it, because again, they had to make up for the shortfall provided by the state. The first year, they didn't make $60,000, they made $40,000. The rubbish was going somewhere, wasn't it? And the revenue wasn't making it. So when we came into office back in 2013, again, if you remember early on, I had recommended at one council meeting eliminating the dump fee. But that would have meant by raising the garbage and recycling fee. Nobody took that one. So we stayed with the dump fees as they were, and then last year, as Alderman Hollenbeck said, he brokered the deal to do the one-year experiment for the yard waste and the golden tickets for the garbage. Again, it's a matter of the state, again, the second time around, cut another $67,000, claims to have brought $16,000 back, but we never see that money. Claims they're going to bring back more money, but never do it. But in the meantime, there's the cost of continuing to do the service. That's why we're here, and that's why, again, that's why I asked the question of Alderman Morales, to say, it's easy to make a motion to say, okay, we're going to give a spring cleanup. Boom, over and done, right? How the heck are we going to pay for it? What services
And
we
again,
cut?
that's-
Right, and that's why I asked the question, Alderman, that said, okay, how are we going to pay for it? Well, we're going to pay for it by every household is going to go up by $15.63, and the reverse side of that says is that the dump no longer becomes free with the 2 golden tickets or 15 yard waste tickets, and people have to pay for it. That's the way you end up doing it. There is no magic money tree here. The state keeps taking away, and we keep continuing to provide services. Alderman
I mean,
Lickwood.
and to echo Alderman Hollenbeck's sentiment, you know, getting rid of that dump, you're hearing about it 1 year later, you will hear about it 19 years from now, because people still talk about the removal of the fall pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just happened last month.
That was prior
That
to
happened in the
2000.
90s.
Yeah.
That happened in the 90s, and people are still talking about it like they got rid of it like we just got rid of that service, right,
Mr.
Tom?
Schmidt, you're laughing
Right,
at me,
Tom?
sir. Behave
Yeah,
yourself, sir.
people are still talking about it like it just happened, you know, and what you're proposing sounds great, like, hey, everybody pays $15 and some change, but the whole intent of having the people come down, verify who they are, and now I believe there's an option to do it online, So you can have the ticket sent to your house. You just have to prove it, it's you with whatever information, so you can do it online, so you don't really have to physically come here to get them mailed to your house. Now, the original intent of making the people come here is we weren't just going to mail all 60-some hundred tickets out there. So now we find out only half of the people are actually even using it. So that means the other 3,300 people are going to pay $15 and something. It's supposed to be a user fee. That was what the original dump fee was. If you use it, you're going to pay for it. But then we made it where okay, we're getting rid of it because number one, it was an eyesore. Number two, it used to be a 5-week process. Each district had a week. Well, what happened there, and when we had to switch it to half of the city and half of the city, was let's say we started in the first district. Your people would put it out, they're supposed to put it out Friday. They would put it out a week early, but then guess what? My people in the 4th district, some in the 5th, some in the 3rd, some in the 2nd, would see the stuff going out a week early in the 1st, and you go, oh crap, it's spring cleanup, I gotta throw my junk out. So then you basically have the city looking like Beirut, or like everybody's basement's backed up.
Well-
And then you have people from other cities dumping stuff. You have neighbors throwing TVs. We had a couple from the Board of Public Works where the police got involved because they saw him carrying the TV, dumping it over in her property. Now the cops are involved, and we're on the Board of Public Works deciphering who's dumping TVs. And then the ultimate thing is Justin Morales lying about it's not his TV, and,
We've had this discussion, I know these arguments, I can't say that I even argue against what you're saying. All I'm telling you is that I was elected to represent my district and their best wishes, and I'm telling you what they're telling me. So I have a certain obligation to them to bring that to the rest of the council and to voice that opinion.
You do, and I totally applaud you for that. I mean, that if that is what your constituents are telling you, then that's, you got to follow what, your constituents are telling you.
Okay, here's what I suggest. Since Alderman Johnson isn't here, and I'd like to have him also weigh on this as well, because again, I think it's something across the city. I'll hold this item off for 2 weeks, bring it back, we'll put something out there that, again, you all can use, and, have your constituents contact you. I will send you a draft, so we're all on the same page as far as what it's going to look
Fly
like.
around with the sign around the city and
However it gets
get
out.
everybody here.
Well, again, however we can get the information out, okay? All right? And then we'll bring it back in 2 weeks. Is that fair enough?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, all right, then we'll hold that item over, and I will get you a draft of something probably tomorrow. All right, department manager elected official updates. Three of them for you tonight from the office of the mayor. Number one is the September 2016 report for Care for Cudahy. The non-compliance fees and failure to correct issues unfortunately was up $525 from the previous month, so September was $2,775 in non-compliance fees. If everybody did their thing, guess what? We would be down at zero. That's the ultimate goal, but they don't. So that's why we have to have it. The second one is the update to the Common Council regarding the Milwaukee County EMS paramedic program. Members of the council, you will probably hear that there were 2 communities that voted against the agreement that was recently passed at the Intergovernmental Cooperation Council. One was the city of South Milwaukee, the other one was the city of Cudahy. The city of South Milwaukee voted against the funding formula. Since we are a non-host community, we are not allowed to vote on the funding formula that's set forward by Milwaukee County. But basically what they did in this new contract is they ripped out another $1.5 million of the countywide paramedic program that's funneled back to the municipalities that host units. It appears, where I will not speak for the office of the mayor of the city of South Milwaukee, I will not speak for the South Milwaukee Common Council, I will not speak for their fire department. However, it appears that the South Milwaukee Fire Department will no longer be having paramedic service in 2017 as part of the Milwaukee County Paramedic Program. I'm not speaking on their behalf, that's their decision to make, but I have very good indications from their Director of Administration as well as their mayor is that their council will probably not approve the EMS contract. That's part of the reason why I voted against the paramedic contract at Milwaukee County. I'm responsible to the citizens of the city of Cudahy. We are under a county paramedic program. Our fire chief for 7 years has tried to fight to get a paramedic unit here in the city of Cudahy, with the county not allowing us to do it, not even allowing us to couple onto somebody else's license. What does that mean if South Milwaukee pulls out? Our residents will still get paramedic service, but it'll come from a further distance, either Oak Creek or Med 17 on 13th and Layton. My residents, your residents, suffer with that decision, don't they? That's why I voted against it. So I just wanted to make sure the council was aware. At some point in time, the actual county paramedic contract, even though we're a non-host community, will be coming before this governing body. As I reminded you from a previous meeting, it also contains another $4,800 FOT pot or some other foolishness fee for transmission of data that I'll strongly recommend that the council, in approving that contract, does not approve that fee to Milwaukee County. But that's the update on the paramedic program. The other one is a much nicer one from the Plan Commission. Very good meeting, as you saw in your notes. They approved the Hold Harmless Agreement and outdoor assembly for Jen Sweet Treats for her charity fundraising events, November 11th through 13th, 4700 block of Packard Avenue. The council previously approved their usage of the street during that period. There were a couple of certified survey maps for property owners, as well as the alley vacation for the Laddish that was also recommended and sent forward to here tonight, as well as they approved the Penn Place redevelopment plan that was previously approved at the Community Development Authority. From the police chief, I'd like to have him come forward and provide the council with a summary of the 2015 Cudahy Police Department annual report. Chief Pellet.
Honorable Mayor Hohenfeld and Common Council, good evening. I'm pleased to present the Cudahy Police Department's 2015 annual report. The cover of the report bears the photo of police officer Holly Zinnecker and K-9 Rex. Rex was added to our ranks in 2015, funded through donations to the department. The department's first K-9 unit started in 2008. Officer Olson and Etzo continue to serve. We anticipate that Etzo will retire within the next 6 months. He's about 10 years old now and coming to the end of his career. 2015 marked my 8th full year as Cudahy's police chief, having started in December of 2007. In 2008, Cudahy's crime rate was at an all-time high, with 69 UCR reportable violent crimes, consisting of criminal homicide, forcible rape, robbery, and assault, and 763 UCR reportable property crimes, including burglary, theft, and motor vehicle theft. The community was reeling from layoffs of police officers, and there had been a 110% increase in violent criminal activity in about a 5-year time frame. The Cudahy Police Department only investigated violent crime unless there was a known suspect in a property crime. We've worked collaboratively since 2008 to reduce crime and to create an environment conducive to maintaining property values and drawing business to the city of Cudahy. Crime is down again in Cudahy in 2015 as compared to 2014. 1 year, however, does not constitute a trend. Rates of criminal activity will increase and decrease over time. One thing is certain, I've never seen a crime rate the same 2 years in a row. In 2015, the Cudahy Police Department received 21,268 calls for service. What I'm very proud of is that between 2008 and 2015, we've experienced a 43% overall reduction in property crimes, down from 763 to 396, and a 62% overall reduction in violent crimes, down from 69 to 26. I believe that this crime decrease is a reflection of the hard work of the men and women of the Cudahy Police Department with the support of Mayor John Hohenfeld and the aldermen. Through your ongoing support, You have all demonstrated that the safety of this community is a high priority to you. Since 2011, Cudahy police officer staffing is authorized at 31. In 2008, our staffing was increased from 29 to 30. At that time, we began a crime suppression unit to target gang and drug crimes. We had seen many successes with the crime suppression unit. Due to staffing shortages and overtime funding shortage, the crime suppression unit was eliminated in 2013. We no longer conduct proactive narcotics investigations, but will conduct an investigation if we're provided adequate information to obtain a search warrant. Our first year, 2008, we did 17 narcotics-related search warrants. In 2015, we conducted 1. It's a goal of ours to someday obtain funding for staffing from the Common Council to proactively conduct narcotics-related investigations. So far this year, we've had 25 overdoses, 10 fatal and 1 pending toxicology. Much of our criminal activity is related to gangs and drugs. We continue with the strong training program for the Combined South Shore Joint Tactical Unit headed by Sergeant Tom Livesey. The successful resolution of high-risk scenarios is determined by the equipment provided and the knowledge, skills, and abilities of the people who are tasked to intervene. We have an excellent training program. We send staff to specialized training, but we also have in-house unified tactical instructors to optimize the ability to train and cost effectiveness. Since 2013, we've set professional communication skills training as a foundation for all unified tactics training. We've been focusing on de-escalation training and non-escalation training since well before the report came out from the White House on 21st century policing. We continue to utilize a robust group of 10 unpaid volunteer auxiliary officers. Auxiliary officers have been a part of the Cudahy Police Department for many decades. They assist at sporting and other school events, community events, and other incidents. The police department has applied for and received grant money for equipment, technology, and for wages to fund several enforcement initiatives. We partner with other area law enforcement agencies for funding of seatbelt, speed, and OWI enforcement. Our traffic safety program is extremely strong, and it's an absolutely vital component to continuing crime reduction in this community. 2015 was a statistical all-time record high for enforcement activity, and we've already exceeded 2015's performance by more than 800. We established a neighborhood supervision program in 2008 with probation and parole. In 2009, this program was increased to 2 probation agents, which are based at the Cudahy Police Department. The program provides more concentrated caseload of offenders, which increases the accountability of the approximately 200 people on probation and parole in Cudahy. That program and our partnership continues to run strong. In 2009, we partnered with the school district to implement a part-time school resource officer. This program exceeded our expectations, and the school district funded a second part-time school resource officer in 2010. The wages are paid by the school district, and the city bears the in-kind costs, such as supervision, the police department, a firearm, and a squad car, and so forth. Those positions are currently filled by officers Kaminsky and Stoll, and they continue to strengthen our relationship with the families and staff within the Cudahy School District. In 2009, we were the first city to implement prescription medicine collection program in partnership with MMSD. This is an ongoing initiative to decrease the availability of unused prescription medication, to prevent abuse, and to provide an environmentally safe method of disposal. That initiative continues to run strong, and the Cudahy Police Department consistently sets the high mark for taking unwanted medications out of people's medicine cabinets, out of our water supply, and off the streets. We continue to focus on crime prevention through education and highly visible police presence. We continue to enhance our service through focusing on processing of crime scenes and collection and preservation of physical evidence. In 2015, the Cudahy Police Department led a countywide initiative to implement the lethality assessment program as a pilot program for the state of Wisconsin. This is a program aimed at enhancing the relationship between law enforcement, prosecutors, and advocates when providing service to victims of domestic violence. The goal is to reduce intimate partner homicides. I continue to serve as a board member for Sojourner Family Peace Center, the chair of the Domestic Violence Committee, for the Milwaukee County Law Enforcement Executives Association, a member of the Wisconsin Department of Justice Training Advisory Subcommittee, and a statewide trainer in domestic violence investigation. I recently served as a master trainer teaching law enforcement advocates and prosecutors as 55 law enforcement agencies in 5 counties implemented the lethality assessment program in the state of Wisconsin. Leading this program, conducting statewide training, and demonstrating proficiency in conducting investigations were components of me receiving the 2016 Law Enforcement Officer of the Year Award. We continue to build strong partnerships with the community, which ensures the continued success of this agency. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief, again, and from the department, and a very thorough report again this year. Greatly appreciated. And again, we'll put it on our city's website to be able to share it with our citizens as well.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Nice job to the department and yourself on the report, and everybody involved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction of passages of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinances. Number 1, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance number 2418 entitled, an ordinance to remove Chapter 44, Article 2, Division 25, SOB Sexually Oriented Business Overlay District, and to amend Chapter 44, Article 2, Division 15, M1, the Limited Manufacturing District, and Chapter 8, Article 5, Section 8-176, Location of Sexually Oriented Business.
Members of the council, early tonight, a public hearing was held before the common council regarding this ordinance. Are there any other questions of Director Biernat before we move this forward? Seeing and hearing none, a motion to approve ordinance 2418 would be in order.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Lickwick. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor?
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 2, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance number 2437 entitled, an ordinance to amend section 38-1 concerning adoption of the state and administrative laws.
This ordinance was brought forward by the city attorney regarding reckless driving under state statutes and sent to the Rules, Laws, Licensing Committee, which I believe came out with a favorable recommendation, so a motion to approve ordinance 2437 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Morales. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 3, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance number 2438 entitled, an ordinance to move section 32-2C and place that section in the move appropriate chapter concerning animals, now recodified in section 4-15B.
And this one also was sent to Rules, Laws, Licensing, moving it to a more appropriate place in the code, so a motion to approve ordinance 2438 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Morales. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance number 2439 entitled, an ordinance to remove reference to now defunct building board concerning submission to fence plan for salvage dealers.
It never ceases to amaze me what the city attorney finds when he can't sleep on a Saturday night in our code when the building board that has not existed since the 1970s vetted through our Rules, Laws, Licensing Committee. So a motion to approve ordinance 2439 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Morales. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 5, discussion and necessary action regarding ordinance number 2440 entitled, an ordinance to amend section 6-159-4 to 4A to correct a Scribner error.
Members of the council, in passage of the previous ordinance, a Scribner's error was found. This would be the correcting ordinance to that error, so a motion to approve ordinance 2440 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, seconded by Alderman Morales. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Resolutions. Number 1, discussion and necessary action regarding resolution number 7074 entitled, a resolution recognizing the Friends of Pulaski Park, Cudahy as Friends Group of the Year as honored by the Park people of Milwaukee County.
Motion to approve Resolution 7074 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko, second by Alderman Licklick. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 2, discussion and necessary action regarding Resolution Number 7076 entitled, "A Resolution Approving Certified Survey Map for 3630 East Edgerton Avenue."
As recommended by the Plan Commission, a motion to approve Resolution 7076 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Hollenbeck, second by Alderman Licklick. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 3, discussion and necessary action regarding Resolution Number 7077 entitled, "A Resolution Approving Certified Survey Map for 3861 East Carpenter Avenue."
As recommended by the Plan Commission, a motion to approve Resolution 7077 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Hollenbeck, second by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 4, discussion and necessary action regarding Resolution Number 7078 entitled, "A Resolution Approving Certified Survey Map for 3413 East Boxford Avenue."
As recommended by the Plan Commission, a motion to approve Resolution 7078 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Morales, second by Alderman Licklick. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Number 5, discussion and necessary action regarding Resolution Number 7079 entitled, "Resolution Vacating and Discontinuing a Part of the Public Alley of the City of Cudahy, a portion of the alley running east and west, parallel to 3800 block of East Adams, 3620 East Adams, and 3625 East Grange."
This is the initial resolution that sets this action in moving forward. Earlier tonight, you approved the public hearing. This is the initial resolution for the public hearing, so a motion to approve Resolution 7079 would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Hollenbeck, second by Alderwoman St. Marie Belko. Any discussion? On a roll call, please. Lock in your votes. All voting in favor.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Public comment, is there anybody wish to speak to the Common Council on any subject? Please come forward, state your name and address at this time. Second call, anybody wish to speak to the Common Council at this time?
I guess you all know me, Tom Schmidt, 3954 East Birchwood. I was laughing in the audience because I had some guy walk up to me today when I was cleaning my yard and asking me, when is the fall pickup, when we can throw everything out, our mattresses and everything else. I said, well, we haven't done that, and I've not been on Monkwitz for probably 12 years now, and it's been before that. This spring pickup thing, you're gonna beat this thing to death. I don't know where we can go with this, and I remember in a meeting, this is my first meeting because I came back to a different shift. I'm ready to retire. Anyways, one year we had a spring pickup, and there was somebody on this council that made the comment that his relatives came in from out of town and they thought that we had a flood. And it was Mother's Day weekend. It just happened that it was a crappy weekend. I mean, Mother's Day's not a crappy weekend, but the city did look like crap. Am I for it, am I against it? I think what I would like to see if we can't do something is, when we do have a spring pickup, not a spring pickup, but a spring, continue with the tickets, that's a good thing. But I did not know that we had an e-waste weekend until I went down there one time, Jason. You know, I went down there on a Saturday and, oh, it's e-waste weekend. If we could get that out more. And yes, they were charging $20 a piece for a TV. Anything else you didn't have to pay for. I don't know. I don't want to pay $15.63 extra on my recycling. Ray Gilwacky, this is years ago, I was at that meeting. $14.10 for a recycling container. Mr. Schmidt, this thing's gonna pay for itself. Okay, Ray, guess what? It's not. But I'll pay $15.63 if I have to go to the dump or if I have to come here to get one ticket because it's up to me to get it. I can do with what I have, and that's just me. My lot's 90 by 120, I've got trees, I've got garbage, and I have 3 tickets left. Just saying. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Anybody else who wish to speak to the Common Council on any subject at this time? Second call.
Jerry,
Third and final call.
come on, Jerry.
No, he's quiet tonight. He's good.
He's been quiet for 2 years. What's up, Jerry?
He's just working hard as a good volunteer does.
I'm just shaking my head on it.
There we go. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Licklick, second by Alderman Hollenbeck. Any discussion? You've heard the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by the usual aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so ordered. We are adjourned. Thank you.